Any moment now, Prime Minister Modi will be taking off from Delhi for Uzbekistan. That's where the SCO summit is happening. It's the first in-person Shanghai Cooperation Organisation meeting since 2019. Prime Minister Modi will make a 24-hour visit to Samarkand in Uzbekistan to attend the SCO summit, as well as hold bilateral talks with the presidents of Russia, Iran and Uzbekistan. Of course, everyone's going to be watching out for that interaction with Russian President Putin. Chinese President Xi Jinping has already arrived for the SCO summit, is expected to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin, a very talked about meet, that one too. Before leaving for the summit, Prime Minister Modi said he looks forward to exchanging views on topical, regional and international issues and on further deepening multifaceted and mutually beneficial cooperation. Of course, all eyes will be on whether Prime Minister Modi will have a bilateral meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping after the Chinese troops pulled back from the contentious PP-15, Patrol Point 15 at Gogra and Hot Springs. The leaders will be face-to-face many times in the next year and a half, but there's a big question mark on whether the bilateral will be happening.
Besides his bilateral with the host country, chair of the SCO summit, Uzbekistan's Prime Minister will have other bilateral meetings on the sidelines of the summit, and we would keep you apprised as along the way when the Prime Minister's schedule of these bilateral meetings unfolds as we go along. At this stage, that is all I can share with you.
All right, let me also introduce now on this broadcast Geeta Mohan, who's joining us live from Samarkand, which is where, of course, the SCO summit will kick off tomorrow. Gaurav Sawant, our managing editor, is also live with us. I also have Shivarur with us here in the studios. And Shiv, I'd like to take it away to you first, because at this point, all talk and the endless speculation is about whether there's going to be that big Modi-Xi handshake.
Absolutely. I mean, that is the main question right now. The Prime Minister Modi will be leaving in just a few minutes from now for Samarkand in Uzbekistan. The question that's on everybody's mind right at the top, of course, is will Prime Minister Modi and President Xi interact one-on-one beyond the photo op? It's not on the schedule, it's not expected to be there, but you never know what happens at these summits. Could there be a one-on-one between the two leaders? Will India and China discuss the very important Depsang and Demchok issues going forward? It won't happen at this summit, obviously, because there's no scope for it, but will this summit trigger that conversation, since the disengagement has already happened from Gogra and Hot Springs? Number 3, will the SCO generate the next date for a big Modi-Xi summit? They haven't met in person since the standoff began in 2020. This will be the first time that happens. Could there be some buzz over that next big anticipated Modi-Xi summit? Will India's stand force a de-induction of PLA forces? Will that conversation veer towards that on the back of this summit? And finally, have the Indian Army's hybrid operations all across the friction points in Ladakh forced some kind of a Chinese rethink? Has the disengagement, Akshita, from Patrol Point 15 really set the stage for a new direction that this standoff could head in? Not on the table as far as the SCO summit is concerned, but could there be some new direction with these two leaders sharing a frame for the first time physically since the standoff began?